Let's unpack this. You're in a job interview, the pressure's on, maybe you're feeling that familiar little nod of anxiety,
Mm.
and then the question comes, so tell me about yourself, and bam, it's like your brain just, I don't know, did a factory reset.
Yeah.
You might even think of saying something completely random, totally unhelpful. We've all been there, haven't we?
It's incredibly common, that feeling, that moment where you really want to make a strong connection, but just like figuring out the right starting point can feel like a massive hurdle.
But here's the thing, right? This doesn't have to be a stressful, mind-blanking experience. Today, our goal is to give you some really concrete strategies, some actual phrases you can, use to confidently describe yourself when you're interviewing for a job.
Exactly. And it's so important to realize that this isn't just some casual icebreaker they throw out there.
Right.
This question is a genuine opportunity, a really powerful one, actually, to make a strong first impression. It kind of sets the tone for the whole interview.
Yeah, think about it. It's the interviewer's first real look into, well, your professional identity. They're not just filling airtime. They are actively listening for key information.
And what's fascinating here is what they're really trying to understand. It's not just one thing. They're assessing your ability to communicate clearly, concisely. Can you actually articulate who you are professionally in a structured way?
That makes perfect sense.
Mm.
I mean, if you can't clearly explain your own professional story,
Mm.
how can you effectively communicate ideas or, collaborate within a team?
Precisely. And secondly, it's a window into your self-awareness. Do you actually have a good handle on your own strengths? And crucially, how they relate to the job, the professional landscape.
So it's not just about rattling off a list of skills. It's demonstrating that you recognize your key talents and you understand their value in like a work context.
And thirdly, and this is really, really crucial for the interviewer at this early stage, they're trying to figure out your overall fit for the specific role and the company culture. Does the way you describe yourself seem to align with what they're actually looking for?
Okay, so this isn't about just, sharing your life story in some rambling way.
Definitely not.
It needs to be focused
Yep.
and directly relevant to the job. And that leads us to a helpful way to think about framing your answer. Imagine it as your elevator pitch.
That's an excellent analogy. Brief, impactful, persuasive.
Right.
You need to be able to convey the most critical bits of your professional self in a way that grabs their attention and leaves a lasting positive impression. And to help you actually craft that pitch, we have a really useful framework, the three-step formula.
All right, let's dive into this three-step formula then. It seems like it's all about organizing your answer so it makes sense and covers all the essential bases.
That's it.
So step one focuses on the present, who you are professionally, like right now.
Exactly. This is where you start. Talk about your current role or what you're currently engaged in professionally. Think job title, main responsibilities, maybe a key area of expertise you bring.
So a concrete example might be something like, I'm a digital marketing specialist with over 3 years of experience helping startups achieve significant growth in their online presence. Something like that.
Perfect. That's clear. It's to the point, and it immediately tells the interviewer your current professional focus.
Okay.
And what's important to consider here is how to adapt this if maybe you're not currently employed.
Right, good point.
In that case, you might focus on a recent significant project you finished, or maybe your core area of expertise and the steps you're actively taking, like training or freelance work, to stay sharp in your field.
So you're still anchoring them.
Exactly, anchoring them in your present professional activities and capabilities. The goal is just to establish that current standing.
That makes sense. Okay, so that's the present. Now, the second step in the formula takes us to the past, your relevant professional background.
Right. This part involves giving a concise overview of your background. Could be education, past experiences. But the key word here is relevant. You don't need to recount your entire career history, chapter and verse, just the parts that really support your application for this specific job.
So building on our digital marketing specialist example, they might then say something like, I studied business communication and began my career in social media management, where I gained a foundational understanding of content strategy and audience engagement. Gives context, right? Shows how they got here.
Precisely. You're essentially drawing a clear line connecting those past experiences to your present capabilities. And this connection then leads naturally into the final step.
Which is all about the future. Specifically, why you are sitting in that interview, why you're going after this particular opportunity.
This is your chance to articulate what you're looking for in your next role and, crucially, why this specific role and this particular company appeal to you. This shows genuine enthusiasm, and it shows you've done your homework.
So our digital marketing specialist might wrap it up with something like, now, I'm particularly drawn to this role at your company because of your uh, innovative approach to content marketing in the tech industry, and I'm really eager to contribute my growth-focused strategies to your team. Shows they get it.
Exactly. It highlights a connection, maybe to the company's mission, its values, or perhaps specific parts of the role that really resonate with your career goals.
Hmm.
So just to quickly recap the formula. Present who you are now professionally, past relevant background and experiences, and future your aspirations and why this specific opportunity aligns with them. It's a really powerful way to structure that narrative.
That three-step framework provides a fantastic structure, really solid.
Yeah.
But the words you actually use within that structure are just as important. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
That's where these smart phrases can really make a difference, I guess.
Totally. These are impactful phrases that can add real strength, real punch to your self-description. For instance, starting with, I'm known for being, and then following up with a key strength, consistently delivering results or being a highly collaborative team member. That can be very effective.
It's a great way to highlight your positive attributes without just sort of stating them as facts.
Right.
It implies this is a recognized thing, part of your professional reputation. Another one is, I thrive in, which kind of prompts you to think about the work environment where you do your best work.
Yes, exactly. Do you excel in those really fast-paced, dynamic settings? Or perhaps you're better in more structured, collaborative environments? Sharing this gives the interviewer real insight into whether you're likely to be successful and comfortable within their specific workplace culture.
I also find colleagues often describe me as to be particularly powerful. It has that element of social proof, doesn't it?
It really does.
It's not just you saying it, it's how others see you.
That phrase carries significant weight. You're right. It lends credibility when you can subtly reference the positive impact you've apparently had on your colleagues and teams. And finally, I'm passionate about. That's a wonderful way to convey genuine enthusiasm for your work or maybe the broader field.
Passion is definitely contagious, isn't it? Showing you're truly invested in what you do, well, that can create a much stronger connection with the interviewer. Now, these phrases are great individually, but how can someone kind of weave them together effectively within that three-step answer we talked about?
Good question. Okay, here's an example of how you might combine a few of them. Currently, I'm a project manager known for being highly organized and detail-oriented. I thrive in collaborative environments, and colleagues often describe me as someone who can effectively keep complex projects on track.
Ooh, I like that a lot. It's concise, it's impactful, and it integrates those smart phrases really seamlessly. And of course, listeners should definitely adapt to these phrases and this example to fit their own unique background and, importantly, the specific job they're going for.
Exactly. It's about taking these tools, these building blocks, and tailoring them to your story. Now, just as important as knowing what to say is understanding what things you should probably avoid saying when you're asked to tell someone about yourself.
Absolutely. Let's talk about some common pitfalls. The first one that always springs to mind for me is, well, I'm kind of shy, but I work hard.
Right. That one can be problematic for a couple of reasons. First, starting with a negative self-descriptor, shy, immediately raises, well, questions about your communication skills, your overall confidence in a professional setting. And while, sure, a strong work ethic is valued, simply stating I work hard is often just seen as a basic expectation. It's
Right.
not really a differentiating quality.
Right. It doesn't give the interviewer any specific insights into your skills or how you'd actually contribute. Okay, here's another one we hear sometimes. I don't know, I just really need this job.
Oh boy. That kind of statement just comes across as lacking enthusiasm for the specific role or the specific company. Interviewers are looking for candidates who are genuinely interested in this opportunity, not just desperate for any paycheck.
Definitely. And then there's the classic, the often really overused line, I'm a perfectionist and that's my weakness.
Infamous humble brag.
Right.
While the intention might be to spin a perceived negative into a positive, it often just sounds, well, insincere. And frankly, quite cliche.
They've heard it a million times.
Yes, most interviewers have heard that countless times. It's far more impactful to offer a genuine area for development, maybe, and briefly explain how you're actively working to improve in that area.
So the key takeaway here seems to be, Steer clear of negative self-talk, any hint of desperation, and
Oh.
those tired cliches.
Mm,
Instead, focus on highlighting your strengths, your relevant experiences, and your genuine enthusiasm for this specific opportunity.
precisely. And speaking of preparation, we have a really crucial tip, something that can significantly enhance how you actually deliver your self-description.
Okay.
Practice it out loud.
Yes, this is such a vital step, and one that I think people often overlook. It's one thing to mentally rehearse what you want to say, but actually articulating it verbally is a completely different experience, isn't it?
Absolutely. You might think your answer sounds fantastic in your head, but when you actually speak it aloud, you might find yourself stumbling over certain phrases or realizing the flow isn't quite as smooth as you imagined. Practicing out loud lets you refine the delivery, make it sound much more natural, more conversational.
And there's several effective ways to do this, right? Like recording yourself.
Yep. Audio or even video, it can be incredibly beneficial because it lets you listen back or watch yourself and spot areas where you can improve your clarity, maybe even your body language.
Okay.
Practicing in front of a mirror can also help build your confidence as you actually see yourself delivering the answer.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And here's a slightly different approach, maybe a bit more fun. Try pretending you're pitching yourself in a really high-stakes situation.
Okay.
Maybe even imagine you're on a show like Shark Tank.
I love that analogy.
Right. It can inject a sense of urgency and focus into your practice sessions.
It definitely raises the stakes in your practice and encourages you
Yeah.
to be concise, persuasive. Ultimately, it really just boils down to this, doesn't it? Practice builds confidence,
Hmm.
and that confidence significantly increases your chances of making a strong impression and, well, getting hired.
It's a direct connection. Practice leads to confidence, confidence leads to hired. The more comfortable and natural you sound when you're describing your professional self, the more confident you will appear to the interviewer. And that can absolutely be a deciding factor.
So let's bring it all together. Imagine you're back in that interview. They ask, tell me about yourself. But instead of that familiar feeling of panic, mind going blank, you now have a structured formula. You have those powerful, smart phrases ready to go. You know what not to say. And crucially, you've actually practiced your delivery out loud.
You're no longer just like reacting to the question with dread. You're proactively delivering a well-crafted, compelling summary of who you are professionally.
Exactly. You're taking control of that critical first impression.
Yeah.
So go out there, prepare your self-description using these tools. Remember, you have the potential to really shine.
You got this.
And yeah, best of luck in your upcoming job interviews.